Okay, so you've actually done it. You've poured your blood, sweat, and tears into building a company from absolutely nothing. But have you ever stopped to think about what comes next? What happens after you've reached the summit? That's what we're diving into today, the founder's final act, and how you can master your business endgame. And this is the big question, isn't it? The one every single founder has to face at some point. You've built the dream, but what's the endgame? What's the ultimate goal? Is it about creating a legacy that's going to outlive you? Or is it about getting that financial reward for all your insane hard work? And look, this isn't about failure or giving up. Not at all. It's about finishing strong. There's actually a term for this whole thing. It's called a harvest strategy. And yeah, it sounds a little bit like something a farmer would talk about, and honestly, that's for a really good reason. Think about it. It's a strategic plan for how and when you're going to reap the rewards of everything you've sown. This is so, so important. It can't be an afterthought. It has to be a critical part of your business's entire journey. All right, here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to talk about your harvest plan. Then we'll look at the first path, passing the baton. We'll tackle the challenges of succession, and then explore path 2, the big payout. Finally, we'll wrap it all up by talking about how to plan your final move. Ready? Let's get into it. Sooner or later, every successful founder finds themselves standing at a classic fork in the road. And this isn't just any decision. This is a choice that's going to shape not just your future, but the entire future of the company you poured your life into. When it really comes down to it, it boils down to this simple question. Do you pass it on, or do you cash out? On one side, you've got this idea of succession, keeping the business going, building a legacy. On the other side, you've got a liquidity event, turning all that hard work into cold, hard cash. These are two totally different destinations, with totally different journeys to get there. Okay, let's really dig into that first path, passing the baton. This is all about making sure the company you built, your baby, has a life after you're gone. And man, is it personal. It's emotional, and for a lot of founders, this is the real measure of success. Check out this number, 24 years. This tells such a powerful and kind of sobering story. It's the average amount of time a founder stays with their business. And here's the kicker. It's also the average lifespan of a privately held business. Just let that sink in for a second. The takeaway here is pretty stark. If you don't have a plan for what comes next, the business very often dies right along with the founder. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'll just pass it on to my kids, that's the easy route, well, you might want to think again. The numbers tell a very different story. Only about 30% of businesses make it to the second generation. And by the third, that number just nosedives to 16%. It's what they call the generational cliff. And let me tell you, avoiding it takes serious strategy, not just wishful thinking. So what gives? Why is this whole succession thing so incredibly hard? Well, the challenges aren't just about paperwork and logistics. They are deeply, deeply human. We're talking about ego, identity, and some seriously complex family dynamics. Okay, think about it from the founder's perspective. For them, the business is their identity. Letting go can feel like losing a part of themselves. And then there's the impossible question. How do you choose an heir? Especially if it's between your own kids. Then, for the rest of the family, this topic is often the elephant in the room. It's totally taboo. Talking about who takes over can feel like you're talking about the founder's mortality, and that just leads to anxiety, sibling rivalries, and a whole lot of avoidance. Let's say you get past all those emotional hurdles. Okay, great. But now you've got a very practical question. How do you actually bring the successor into the business? Do you go with an early entry strategy where they learn the ropes from the inside out? The risk there is that every little mistake gets seen as incompetence. Or do you go for a delayed entry? They get outside experience, build credibility, but they might not get the company culture. There's really no perfect answer here, just a series of trade-offs you have to weigh. All right, let's switch gears and talk about that other major path, the big payout. This is the route for the founder who says, you know what? My end game is to turn all this hard work into liquid assets. We're talking about a liquidity event. So why would you sell? Honestly, the reasons are just as personal as the reasons you started the business in the first place. Look at this list. It could be simple boredom or burnout. Maybe you just don't have the capital to keep growing. Or maybe there are no heirs to take over. Sometimes it's just a desire for cash or health problems, or just the simple fact that you want to go do something else with your life. Now, when you decide to cash out, you've basically got two main ways to do it. First, there's the IPO. the initial public offering. This is kind of the Hollywood version, right? Going public. The potential returns can be absolutely massive, but, and this is a big but, it is incredibly complex, it's expensive, and you are suddenly under intense public scrutiny. The other option is a complete sale. You sell the whole shebang to another company or person. It's way more direct and gives you a much cleaner break. And believe me, the road to an IPO is a total marathon, not a sprint. It all kicks off with intense prep work and finding an underwriter who'll champion your deal. Then you hit the SEC filing and due diligence phase where every single corner of your company gets put under a microscope. After that, you hit the road, literally, on a roadshow, pitching your company to investors. And only after all of that do you finally get to price the shares and go live. It is a grueling, expensive process for sure. Now, selling your business might seem more straightforward than an IPO, but don't be fooled. It still needs a really careful game plan. It all starts with a deep financial analysis so you know exactly what you have. Then you have to figure out what it's worth and decide on the perfect timing. After that, it's about finding the right buyers, hammering out the deal, and making sure you stay involved right through the closing. And you can't forget communication after the sale either. Every single one of these steps is a crucial play in a very high-stakes game. Okay, so this really brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. It doesn't matter if you choose to pass it on or if you choose to cash out. The key to a successful ending is exactly the same. You have to plan your final move way, way in advance. So if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. Your endgame strategy is not an afterthought. It's not something you start thinking about when you're burned out and ready to walk away. It needs to be part of the vision, woven into the fabric of your business plan right from the very beginning. Trust me, investors want to know you've thought about it, and frankly, your entire future depends on it. And that brings us full circle, right back to that idea of a harvest. This quote from Andrew J. Sherman just nails it. In the agrarian mindset, there is an ideal and defined window to bring a harvest to the marketplace. Why can't we take that same approach with today's entrepreneurial ventures? It's such a powerful way to think about the whole thing, isn't it? There's a time to plant, a time to grow, and a time to bring it all in. Maybe, just maybe, the ultimate entrepreneurial skill isn't just knowing how to start something great, but also knowing exactly how and when to finish it.